Florida rapidly expanded publicly funded school vouchers. 2 years later, students are lost in the mix. You're listening to The Wrap from Central Florida Public Media. I'm Brendan Byrne. More than 500,000 students in Florida are using taxpayer dollars to pay for private school tuition or other educational services. The nonprofit organization tasked with distributing these state-funded vouchers to families mismanaged the money, according to a recent report by the State Auditor General. Among the findings were delayed distributions of funds and some overpayments. An influential Republican state senator offers one explanation. Florida expanded its voucher program too quickly.
I'm a strong supporter of school choice and parental choice, but this could have been done, I think, with a little more planning.
A look at the state's voucher system and the impact on Florida students. That's ahead on The Wrap, the big stories this week from Central Florida Public Media. But first, these news headlines. Members of a Florida autism group are feeling hopeful after President Donald Trump's Monday press conference regarding autism spectrum disorders and its connection with the main ingredient of Tylenol, acetaminophen. As Central Florida Public Media's health reporter Joe Mario Pedersen tells us, one Florida group believes the president's spotlight will lead to a better understanding of the spectrum disorder.
On Monday, President Trump and health officials warned pregnant mothers and young children away from acetaminophen, the main ingredient in Tylenol, citing studies showing an increased risk of autism. Some health officials said there was only an association, not a causation, between the two. Trump remained steadfast and said that the increasing autism rate is artificially induced. Cindy Sunny is an Orlando board member of the Autism Society of Florida. While she's not so sure Tylenol is the sole culprit for rising rates, she's happy autism was addressed nationally and that more may be done.
And I'm sure it's not the last we'll be hearing about it. We just need to have more meaningful progress. And I totally agree with them that there needs to be more transparency and accountability.
While research does show a slight increased risk between Tylenol and the development of autism, no studies point to a direct cause. Joe Mario Pedersen, Central Florida Public Media.
Lake County commissioners voted to designate Schofield Road as a memorial to the slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Central Florida Public Media's Joe Burns has more.
County Commissioner Anthony Sabatini described Charlie Kirk as, quote, the greatest member of our generation. Other commissioners praised him as a devout Christian and said his divisive comments, like calling the Civil Rights Act a mistake, were taken out of context. Sabatini said he spent time with Kirk.
And so I don't think that any normal, sane person would ever speak out against naming a significant road after somebody as great as Charlie Kirk.
He heckled a man who suggested honoring a slain sheriff's deputy instead.
How dare you?
All right,
disgusting. You're a disgusting person.
A few residents spoke in support. 25 spoke in opposition. Many, like Pastor Mike Watkins, highlighted things that Kirk had said.
He said, about black women, you don't have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You are taking white people jobs. He said it. I guess I got to ask the question, do we agree with it? Do we think that that's okay?
The vote in favor of the change was unanimous. Joe Burns, Central Florida Public Media.
A proposal by the Melbourne City Council to rename a street there failed to gain support at a council meeting this week, according to Florida Today. A bill has been filed in the Florida House to designate a street in Miami-Dade County as Charlie Kirk Memorial Avenue. Those who have applied for a permit for an upcoming bear hunt in Florida have about a 1 in 1,000 chance of being selected. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission received more than 163,000 applications for just 172 permits that will be issued for the state's first bear hunt in a decade, according to the agency. The agency will use a lottery-style drawing to select recipients of the permits, who will then have to pay $100 if they are Florida residents or $300 if they are non-residents. George Worthen is the FWC's Chief Conservation Officer.
We have a limited number of tags. Way more people want to get those tags than there are tags available. So we want to know, was this hunt set up to where it could be successful both for wildlife management and for the people wanting to be engaged in wildlife management?
The hunt is scheduled from December 6th to the 28th in 4 areas of the state. Bear hunting has long been controversial in Florida, with the most recent hunt held in 2015. The conservation group Bear Warriors United has filed a lawsuit in Leon County Circuit Court to try to block this year's hunt. These stories and more on our website. Visit cfpublic.org. The Wrap Inbox Edition is your Wednesday digest of what matters most in Central Florida. The weekly newsletter delivers the top headlines, original reporting, and a handy guide to Central Florida public media events, all presented in a format that's quick and easy to read. It's the perfect companion to The Wrap podcast. Sign up at cfpublic.org/The Wrap. More than 500,000 students in Florida are using taxpayer dollars to pay for private school tuition or other educational services. The nonprofit organization tasked with distributing these state-funded vouchers to families mismanaged the money, according to a recent report by the State Auditor General. Among the findings were delayed distribution of funds and some overpayments. An influential Republican state senator offers one explanation. Florida expanded its voucher program too quickly. WLRN education reporter Natalie LaRoche-Pietri looked into it.
As Irene and I were settling into our interview, her 6-year-old daughter figured it was the perfect time for us three to have an afternoon tea party.
Excuse me?
Yes?
Can you get my tea set?
Not right now. I'll get it in a second.
Okay, I will get it. I'll be right back.
She came back with tiny mermaid teacups and a raspberry tart made of plastic. The little girl became entranced in her own world. She has autism.
She thrives the best in a setting where it's maximum 10 children. So the school that she's in now, like, complete turnaround. Like, her speech has improved so much. Her math, they're saying that she's close to 3rd grade level in math. So it's just night and day, night and day.
The school that made such a difference in her daughter's life is private. Irene struggles to pay for the tuition on her own.
As a single parent who's trying to pay a rent that's pretty close to $2,000 a month on top of bills and then her food, she has special dietary needs. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot for any one person to deal with.
Irene planned on paying for the school with the state voucher meant for students with disabilities. Her daughter got approved for more than $10,000, but the money didn't come.
I thought that this school choice program was designed to help kids like her not get just overlooked.
Irene asked us to not use her full name or her daughter's name since she's still fighting for the funding and doesn't want to jeopardize her case. Last school year, Irene's daughter switched from a public charter school to this private school, and there was a lag in updating enrollment records. When the Florida Department of Education checked, the then kindergartner's name came up in her old school's enrollment. The state froze the voucher to make sure her daughter didn't get funding for public and private school at the same time. Irene ended up paying most of the tuition out of pocket last year. For months, she's been emailing and calling everyone she could think of.
Just disheartening. Like, do I just give up? Do we move out of Florida? Like, how do I save to move out of Florida? Like, I want to be in a place where she can get the support that she needs, but it's just like a lot of finger pointing.
It's not a matter of finger pointing and deciding who the bad person is. It's a matter of figuring out a system that is resilient to the environment in which we're in.
State Senator Don Gates is a Republican from the Panhandle, and he's on the committee that oversees school funding. Florida's voucher program began nearly 30 years ago to help students with disabilities and those from low-income families. In 2023, state lawmakers and Governor Ron DeSantis opened the floodgates for any child to use public money for private schooling with the passage of HB 1.
In my judgment, HB 1 was done too quickly. I'm a strong supporter of school choice and parental choice, but this could have been done, I think, with a little more planning.
For most voucher programs, the money comes through the state to a nonprofit called Step Up for Students, which then doles it out to families. Step Up for Students went from servicing 258,000 students to more than 420,000 in just 4 months, and only had about 60 days to prepare. Gates pointed to a state audit that found errors in how Step Up for Students managed applications and funding during that time. Step Up for Students CEO Gretchen Schoenhar responded to the audit, saying the organization learned lessons during this, quote, unique period of historic growth and opportunity that occurred in a compressed time. However, the organization has challenged the narrative that money is not reaching the most vulnerable kids. The nonprofit has maintained that all eligible students with disabilities who were renewing their voucher received funding. 2 years since the expansion, Gates said,
We're hearing about it in our Senate office a whole lot more. This problem is not getting better as it's getting older. It's getting worse as it's getting older.
He supported a Senate bill this year that aimed to solve some of the more common problems affecting voucher families. It failed in the House of Representatives. For example, the proposal would have made it easier to track thousands of kids moving back and forth between public and private schools. The voucher payment schedule and the limited application window are also problematic, Gates said.
We're talking here about over $4 billion in taxpayer money that's going into the scholarship programs. We ought to have decent oversight to make sure that all of those dollars go to the right people in the right place at the right time, because that's not, unfortunately, it's not what's happening now. That's unconscionable, it's wrong, and it's avoidable. We need to make sure that dollars follow the student.
Representatives from the State Department of Education declined an interview and did not respond to my questions. Private school leaders have also been affected by the hasty expansion. In April, a dozen of them filed a legal demand letter to DOE and Step Up for Students, pleading for the release of delayed and missing funds.
Good job, William. Hey, buddy. How's my boy? You want a hug?
Maria Preston is the owner and clinical director of Diverse Ability Center in Southwest Ranches in Broward County. She's one of the school leaders who joined the letter.
The parents are scared. They're scared they're going to lose their funding. I have parents come in here every day crying. Probably 3-4 days a week, they're crying. Either they can't afford something.
The funding headaches for Preston started in September 2023, just months after the state expanded voucher access. She said delays from that time are still affecting her today.
This has been a battle for years.
Angela Seaton is also joining the letter. She owns Square Pegs Learning Center in Panama City. She withdrew hundreds of thousands of dollars from her retirement savings to keep the school going.
It's just unfortunate that we aren't able to do our jobs because we're busy chasing down nickels and dimes to make ends meet.
Step Up for Students is pushing back against the school's claims. The nonprofit and school leaders are trying to find a resolution in hopes of avoiding a lawsuit. I'm Natalie LaRoche-Pietri in Broward County.
That's it for The Wrap this week. This podcast is produced by Central Florida Public Media with editorial assistance from news director LaToya Dennis. I'm Brendan Byrne. This is The Wrap.